Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're back for another Dokkan battle video. And this video, I want to talk about whether domains are actually good for the game, or are they doing more damage than buffs, I guess you can say. Um, in my personal opinion, I think it's in the middle. Uh, Recently with UI Goku's release, before his release, I was more leaning against or leaning towards domains being bad, or not bad, but like they could be better. Is like what I'm leaning for. They're not like horrible bad. Like they don't make the game unplayable. They just make the game um harder to play. It's weird because domains support, but they also debuff. And we'll go through this. So we'll go through the units that have domains. The first unit with domain was Trunks, and then it was Fusion Zamasu, and then it was Future Trunks, Future Gohan, then it was Broly, then Rose, and then finally Tech UI. Um, and there is always one thing that's common about domains. They will always buff the enemy. Um, and I don't know why they chose to make it like this. I don't know why. I don't know whose idea it was. I don't know why he's still at the marketing table or whatever he is. He should just be fired or something. But whoever decided to make domains also buff the enemy is very stupid. I'm sorry, but like that was a very stupid idea. Now domains are this active skill type-ish ability, or mechanic that they have added in the previous worldwide celebration. They could be specific. They could be general buffs. Like we see free to play Trunks here. He's the only free to play unit with a domain, and it sucks. So he only gives Future Saga super. So look at this: superclass enemies and superclass allies, 10% attack and defense. Now this works like an active skill, like Pen's active skill. So you're buffing the enemy. You don't want that, all right? Especially with the fights, today's fights, like this, like post 9th anniversary fights. You don't want to buff the enemy. But most of the time, the buffs to the allies outweigh the buffs to the enemy, and so the good outweighs the bad, but the bad is still there. There's also another thing with domains that's really stupid, is that you cannot override them, meaning that if you activate a domain, well, first of all, you can only have one domain active, which is fine. That's fine, right? But let's say domain goes on for 5 turns, right? You're buffing the enemy for 5 turns. You don't want that. And another character's domain can be activated, but because the current way domains work is that you cannot activate a domain while another one is active. So, for example, if I have Future Trunks domain active, I cannot go into Zamasu's domain and until Future Trunks domain is gone. Then I can go in, and they're usually here for like 4 or 5 turns. Some of the conditions are bad as well. Some of the conditions are good. Like this guy's condition is 5th turn from the start of turn, which is bad because this means that once he appears, that's his first turn. So if you get him on turn 7, that's 7. You have to wait 7 turns. Sorry, if you get him on turn 3, you have to wait 7 turns. So you would want to get them on turn 1. So that's Trunks. Let's see. Let's go through Zamasu. I'm also be going through who has the best domain currently in the game. And this will apply for both Global and JP, because very soon Global will also have all of the units that have domains as JP. So Zamasu's active. Also, some of these domains come with transformations. That's another thing I forgot to mention. Like Zamasu here, his domain comes with a 5 turn transformation, and usually in this domain, the character is very overpowered for a certain amount of turns. So for this one to be activated, you have to it's health under 70%, and then from the 5th turn from the start of turn again. So you want to get him first slot or first rotation. So here he increases damage received by superclass enemies and superclass allies. That means that if you're facing a superclass enemy, you will be taking 30% extra damage, and your allies will be doing 30% extra damage. Um, that's good. It's bad if you're facing like in the like super class blue zone or whatever. This is very bad. You don't wanna buff Goku and Frieza. You don't wanna buff Gogeta. You don't wanna buff Evolution Blue Vegeta or Blue Goku and Blue Vegeta. You don't wanna buff them, right? Because they're already doing a lot of damage. So you don't wanna buff that. Also, Zamasu's transformation, domain transformation, is beyond broken. Because look at this. He nullifies all damage, so he's not getting hit, which is good. This kind of outweighs the 30% more damage taken by enemies. Because if he gets hit, you can just put him. If you know where the super attack is, you can just put him there, or where most of the hits are, and he nullifies everything. And he also makes ki, and he buffs global chaos. Gives him 60% defense. Oh, with four more. What the hell? Okay. So you have to collect ki. All right. So his domain is not bad because it's only limited to super class enemies, not like Trunks where it's to everything to everyone who's on a future category. All right. So now we'll go to Gohan. Now Gohan's is you can activate. So it's a passive skill. It's not a active. So this will just activate immediately as soon as the conditions are met. And the conditions are 5 turns from the start, starting from the 5th turn from the start of. What the hell? Oh, okay. So again, he has this thing where if you get him slot 3, you're gonna have to wait 7 turns. So and he gets a passive buff where he changes into key to SDR, and he has guaranteed crit when keys 24. That's his passive skill while in the domain. Now his active skill it also does damage, and it buffs him by 20%, and he gives him ki. His domain buff is increases damage received by extreme class enemies and allies by 30%. So it's the opposite of Fusion Zamasu. So in the blue zone, this doesn't matter. This is actually very good. If you can run him against Gogeta, this is very good. Because he'll only be buffing you and not the enemy. So this is more decent now, right? Because the most of the game, or most of the actually most of the hard content is actually extreme class enemies. So I guess the Moss was better because because there's not a lot of hard super class fights. So I guess Fusion Zamasu is better than Gohan's, and he's also better defensively. So Gohan here, Zamasu is a little bit better than Gohan. And now we get to Broly. This is where we get to now where things actually start to take a big buffs here. Now Broly's domain is beyond broken because as soon as he becomes this guy's dumb as hell, bro. Look at this buff, and he guards. He has damage reduction, and then all these buffs, a guaranteed super, crit, another guaranteed super, and then another guaranteed super. So, and then he's like greatly reason. Well, I'll show him. Whatever, man. But yeah, this guy's broken. As soon as you go into the domain, he transforms into this, but then he does not transform back, which is very good. So his domain is. We have to go here, right? What? I guess whatever. So his domain is that he will transform into that guy, and to this form here, and he gives ki as well, so that's good. But just active skill. Okay, so his buff is extreme class allies and enemies 10%. Okay, that's cool. But then he gives an additional 10% to allies, or to additional 10% to if they are also so this applies to this as well. So an additional 10% to extreme class allies and enemies who are also in Explosion of Anger or movie bosses. Yeah. So against the super class hard events, this is 20% basically. You're getting 20% attack and defense, and then super class allies and enemies receive an extra 10%. So yeah. So that's actually really good. So like it's not a big deal, to be honest. Um like against superclass allies, you're getting 20% defense and you're taking 10% more damage. So it's not bad. Uh, Again, his domain very bad. It's very, it's very. I almost said very better, but it's very good. Very good domain. Again, the only downside is that there's buffing. You're buffing the enemy. Like you don't want to buff the enemy here. This is not like y'all remember. Hold on. Let me pull up one unit where. Let me just pull up one unit because I remember when Angel Golden Frieza came out. Like he was good, but he had a major downside, which was he debuffed the allies, right? Superclass allies and enemies attack minus 15%. What the hell, man? What is this, bro? 2017, a premium Dokkan Fest comes out with this. I mean, this was good back in the day, but he comes out brand new unit. You're summoned for him. Just if you run him, and mind you, this is a Universal Survivor like Saga and Universe 7. Like so, you're running him on Universe 7 because he has the Universe 7 links. No, what? Oh, he doesn't have the Universe 7 links. That's whack. And he's turned him into power, but that's it. Bro beat down. He doesn't even have like this is but whatever. But I mean after Easy A this became just 7% attack. Um but still you don't want to run units that debuff you unless they're really, really good. You're never gonna run this guy. I hope when he gets super Easy A they just get rid of this. They can keep this, but I hope they just get rid of this, because this is so stupid, man. But yeah, that's Broly. Then we go on to Rose. Rose super bosses, so it's more specific enemies and allies. So this is better than the just extreme category. So 10% and then an additional 10. Oh, what? That's annoying. So again, if you're playing against the super class, hard fights, this is really good. This is really good for you because he does not buff super class. So I would say, actually, no, Broly's domain is still a lot better than this guy. Uh, I would say Broly's domain is number 2. This guy would be number 3. Now, the number 1 domain is obviously Goku, right? Because Goku, I think, in my opinion, the best hidden potential ability in the game is dodge. Um, So when you have fights that cancel dodge, like the two artist fights now, it becomes an issue because units who are dodge or die, or units who you depend on to dodge, will not dodge and they will die. So this guy comes in with his domain where he disables evasion canceling abilities, and he allows your units to dodge. And as soon as his domain will transform you into this, and as soon as you go into this, he will give 10% dodge to all your allies on a turn, just for one turn. And he guaranteed evades encounters for one turn. The guaranteed dodge is for one turn, and he counters every time he evades. So this guy's domain is superclass allies and enemies attack plus 15%. So he will buff the two hardest fights in the game, but then he gives Realm of Gods an extra 15% attack. Again, this is both. No, this is just the Goku and Vegeta fight. So Goku and Vegeta will be getting 15% at 30% attack, and 15% defense. So I think his domain is the best in the game only because of this. So you'll go into a fight that cancels dodge, bring this guy, and you'll be good. But if they're extreme class enemies, then this buff is just for you. Unless, no, this is just for allies. Cool. Yeah. So if you go into an extreme class fight, this guy will shred it to shreds, whatever that means. But yeah, domains. So my final thoughts on this are domains are good for the game. They definitely do more good, but they're also bad because you don't want to debuff. You don't want to buff the enemy. It's 2024 Dokkan. It's about to be in 4 months, 4 or 5, 6 months actually. We're gonna have the 10th anniversary, and I'm assuming they're gonna be introducing a new mechanic. Or maybe not because they usually introduce them in the worldwide. So this worldwide, we might be getting a new mechanic. So hopefully we can see a unit that has a domain that only buffs the allies, not both, because that would be very good. And also, Come on, Dokkan, just give us the update where we can just override domains. Like, what is this? You can only use one domain once per turn. What is this, Yu-Gi-Oh? What the hell? But yeah, that's my my 10 cents on this matter. But if you guys liked what you saw, please subscribe. You know, I'm trying to be rich. I'm trying to buy a Lamborghini, just to park it outside and look at it. I ain't driving that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.